Why should you love your neighbour? Maybe you live next to someone who's horrible. And look, from a national point of view, how do the Ukrainians feel about the Russians? Do they love their neighbours? It's very easy not to love your neighbour. So is this what... See, the Bible makes this... Does it say this? Does it say, go on, try and love your neighbour if you feel like it, and if they're nice. You don't have to, and you can love some and not others, especially those who don't deserve it. Is that what Jesus said? You may not be a Christian, but just bear with me for a moment. So Jesus was asked this question, Teacher, which is the most important commandment in the law of Moses? And Jesus said, you must love the Lord your God with all your heart. And second, you must love your neighbour as yourself. So, I know some of you may not believe in God, but if you love your neighbour, now, what does it mean to love someone? And did you notice he says something else? He said you must love your neighbour as yourself. So if you don't love yourself, then you can't love other people, not properly. So how do you love yourself? So you need to understand what love is. Now, you and I were affected by a culture. What kind of culture we're born into, where we live, the customs, our parents, how they treated us. If we were treated with care and kindness, then we would find it easier to show care and kindness to others, wouldn't we? And even a young child, if they're told to be nice to your younger sister, say, for example, or brother, and then you saw your parents shouting and arguing and being horrible and bullying each other, then they're setting you a bad example. So it's important that an example that you respect, if you were children, you set a good example. Otherwise, you'll see hypocrisy. Children also develop abilities, don't they, to kind of please people. If I do so-and-so, I'll please them and I won't get told off. So they learn ways of coping. Now, it's very easy to take that lifestyle with you into life so that you identify as a specific kind of character. But the question is that you? And of course, you're having to fit in with society around you and the culture you're in, aren't you? What's that like? Well, most of you know, not the nicest place to be out in the world, is it? So the first thing you have to do is understand what love is. So let's just define it, shall we? It says here, quoting from a Texas Bible, 1 Corinthians 13, it says, love is patient, love is kind, love is not jealous, it doesn't boast, it's not proud, love is not rude. Love is not selfish, love does not become angry easily, love does not remember wrongs done against it. Love is not happy with evil, but love is happy with the truth. Love patiently accepts all things. Love always trusts, always hopes, always continues strong. Love never ends. They're noble qualities, aren't they, to have? So they're goals for us to reach out for, but why bother being loving? Well, if you're at school and you've been persistently naughty, you find out what it's like, don't you, to be punished. And so children learn to sort of comply. For example, if you're nasty to people you break the traffic rules, then you're liable to get penalties, even if it's just speeding fines. So we learn in society, don't we, to kind of behave to a certain degree to make our own lives more pleasant. And if you're married or you're with someone, you're living with someone, if you're horrible and nasty to them, what's life like? Rather unpleasant, isn't it? So we learn, don't you, to cooperate for our own peace of mind as well. So love is kindness. We see love in nature as well, some parts of nature. a parent bird will feed its young, won't we? So there is love around us as well as the negative qualities. So that's the first thing you've got to do is look in the mirror and start being authentic with yourself. Try to be genuine. If you don't agree, don't just do things to please other people. You need to work out a way of finding things that you enjoy doing and you're happy with doing, and don't be too worried about what other people think. So we have to learn to love ourselves, and once we're comfortable with ourselves and we're doing some things that at least make us reasonably happy, then we can show kindness to others, to love our neighbour. We need to be compassionate, kindness, sharing. And in the Bible it talks about there's more happiness in giving than receiving. In other words, showing kindness, often people are grateful. I know they're not always. It says here about service, it says, finally, serve your neighbours. Allow yourself to put humility into practice. Is what happens when you serve your neighbours. Let them know that you're there for them. If they need anything, then truly be there. Whether it's babysitting, a car ride, cleaning, or even just lending them something. So, another question you might ask is, well, who's my neighbour? Well, your neighbour is, Jesus stated that your neighbour is every single human being on this planet is your neighbour. Not just the people next door, but every single person across the world is prospectively your neighbour, because we're one human family. And so they're the people that we need, well, we can try to be nice to. If we're horrible to them, then you'll get a lot of horrible responses. And because we're a community animal, we could lock ourselves in and isolate ourselves, but there was a lot of trauma caused by lockdowns, and we're social animals, so we need a group of friends. We need to have some sort of social life so that we can be happy in that. For those of you who have a faith and believe in God, it says here in John, it says, if anyone says, I love God, and yet is hating his brother, he's a liar. Why? For the one who does not love his brother, whom he has seen, cannot love God, whom he has not seen. And we have this commandment from him, that whoever loves God must love their neighbour. So the command that Jesus gave was not a choice. It says you must do it. So, thank you very much. You may ask yourself, well, who am I? Who am I? What do I want to do with my life? If you've got those questions, then there's a video on that one. Please subscribe if you feel you want to. Thank you.